Welcome to the rabbit hole, and today we're going to talk about the Premonition Bureau.
Cool. Then there was an avalanche.
Yeah, well, if you are listening to us in audio format only, you should give a chance to come to YouTube and find us there. Just go youtube.com and search for us, Rabbit Hole Origins, and like and subscribe, I guess.
Please.
And let's watch the episode today, Premonition Bureau.
Mind.
Okay, Rafa, this is an interesting one. This is from the 60s in jolly England. Obviously, it's the 60s, so everything was in black and white, which we will see shortly.
Yeah.
But this is a very odd set of events that occurred. And it all started with a Cambridge-educated psychiatrist called John Barker.
Mm-hmm.
And he had an interest in clairvoyance.
Okay.
And what actually started him off was there was a disaster in England, actually in Wales about that time. And just before these events kind of kicked off, that we're going to talk about, there was a mining village in Wales, coal mining, and one morning, very early in the morning, you know when they do like coal mining and stuff, they build these huge pilings of waste material, and they're called pilings actually, and all kinds of mining produces them. Anyway, in this Wales was a big coal mining country, and this small village called Aberfan, it was called, had a mine, and it had these huge tailings up on the hills. And one night in, I think, early 1964, could be 63, there was a huge rainstorm, and early in the morning, one morning, basically literally a mountain of pilings from, waste material from the coal mine actually collapsed, and it actually rolled over the village. It actually rolled over a school full of children.
Wow.
And something like 150, something like that, people died. Anyway, the odd thing was that afterwards, parents came forwards when they were talking about it and said that a number of children had actually said to their parents the night before that they didn't want to go to school the following day because something bad was going to happen. And of course, they took no notice of them.
So they got this kind of premonition.
Right? And this John Barker fella, obviously he was fully aware of this, and he was interested in premonitions and all that stuff and clairvoyance. So what he did was he approached the editor of a big London newspaper at the time called the Evening Standard.
Yeah.
And he persuaded the Evening Standard to back him in a venture, shall we say, where they would ask readers of the Evening Standard, which was published in London, but was also published in the regions as a sub thing. Basically, they would ask readers to send in premonitions that they were having, and they would collate them all and score them. Right?
Okay.
And the project was called the Premonitions Bureau, right?
Yes, there's like a movie, no?
I think there is a
Like
movie.
Minority Report, I think was, or how is it what's called?
No, well, obviously there is that movie, but that's based on a Philip K. Dick story.
Yeah, I know, but it's a similar plot,
idea,
no?
right? Kind of, yeah. They were called precogs, weren't
The
they?
precogs, they were trying to stop crime
Yeah, thought crime, right?
before it happened.
Whereas this was actually a real thing. And actually, it's interesting you should say that because I've not checked. But I wonder when Philip K. Dick wrote that book, that story.
If it had some kind of influence on
Was it around this period? And I've got a feeling it might have
It might be.
because he was very prolific around then. Anyway, so we're talking 1966.
Mm-hmm.
And this project took shape nationwide, and people were reporting premonitions, and they were being collated by the people at the Evening Standard, and they were basically judged on 3 kind of qualities, shall we say.
Okay.
One was, for some reason, unusualness. I don't know, I don't know whether that's a valid thing, but anyway, 5 points were up to 5 points were allocated for that. And then another 5 points could be allocated for accuracy.
Of course.
And then 1 point for timeliness. Now, I would have said up to 5 points for timeliness and maybe 1 point for unusualness.
Accuracy, I think, and timeliness are, I would say, should
the
have
key
been
things.
the most important ones,
Yeah,
no?
not unusualness, but it was a newspaper, so they're always after a story, right?
Yeah, of course.
Maybe that was the compromise, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that was the compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, over the period that the Premonitions Bureau ran, they received something like, I've got a number here somewhere. Yes, they received in a year 732 premonitions, and of those 18, which is what, about 1%, 2%, something like that. God,
Mm-hmm.
wish I hadn't decided to do that math on air, but there you go. Anyway, 18 of the 732 seemed to be borne out. They were correct.
Correct, yeah. They actually happened.
It's about 2%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know, 2%? What do you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, 18 out of 732.
That's not terrific.
That's not much.
Is that like chance?
Could it be called chance? Yeah.
In that...
I think we come to the point in which we have to first, I don't know if decide or at least accept that maybe some people could maybe get this kind of premonitions.
Well, I suppose the interesting thing, the thing we should cover is that actually of those 18, I suppose this is
Mm-hmm.
where it gets a little bit kind of out there, which is the section this is in, is that of those 18 premonitions, 12 of them, so these are the 18 that were borne out, 12 of them came from just 2 people. Now that's more significant, isn't
for
it?
sure. Sure.
Right. Now the 2 people, it was a man and a woman, Kathleen Lorna Middleton, who actually only died not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
She was a privately wealthy individual, and she was also a ballet teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And the fellow was an Alan Hensher.
That's an interesting work he had.
Hensher? What? Oh, the job he did.
The job he had.
Or switchboard operator. For a man, that's quite interesting, actually, in that period.
Because in that period, mostly we were women
Exactly.
doing the job.
Exactly. So I think switchboard operator is a bit... it is correct, but I think he had some other jobs as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's just one of them.
I think the interesting part here of this guy is that he was having the premonitions, but also through headaches.
From a car accident.
From a car accident.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and he only had them
clearly
after
something
the car
happened
accident.
In the car accident.
Yeah.
Could it have been, or most likely was something neurological?
Brain damage, right?
And but could this lead to actual premonition?
Well, Kathleen Middleton She had had these premonitions literally all her life.
Mm-hmm.
I had them certainly from a young child, and there is a book written about her.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a book written about the whole Premonitions Bureau, which we can show an image of at some point. And I believe the book/story has been optioned for a movie.
Uh-huh.
So the interesting thing is that obviously of the 18 predictions that seem to be correct, 12 of them came from these two people. And for example, the most famous one was that in March 1967, Hensher predicted a plane crash in which 123 people would die.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it actually turned out that within, I think it was a couple of weeks, a Swiss airliner plane did crash on a flight from Bangkok
Mm-hmm.
to Basel, and it came down in Cyprus, and 126 people died.
Pretty close.
Pretty close, but no prize, right? Because, well,
Mm-hmm.
Here's my thing. You think that's pretty close, actually. On the other hand,
It's not exactly.
well, here's my thing is here we are in the 21st century going, oh, it's pretty close. But of course, we're used to getting on planes that even an average plane will take like 300 people. A jumbo jet takes like 400. A super jumbo is like 550. Actually, in 1966, probably the regular
What's
planes
the average?
would be about that.
Yeah, maybe
right?
130. I don't know.
So,
True.
okay, so let's take the number 123.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 126 died. Oh, maybe it was a full flight that day, right? Yeah, but you see what I mean?
Yeah.
To our eyes, maybe that's not so brilliant. It's a plane, so it wasn't quite full.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, saying 123 instead of 126 doesn't sound that fantastic, really, because the plane probably could only hold 126.
That much.
Or 130.
30.
Right? So maybe that's not so brilliant. And then the other thing, being skeptical, right, is, let's be honest, it was the 60s. Planes weren't that reliable. So here's the thing. So here's another thing, which is that, what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say now. Here's the thing, right? So you have a prediction, right? You make a prediction. Now, to me, if it happened the following morning, I'd be impressed. Even better would be that afternoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I suppose even better would be an hour after you do the prediction. But this was like 2 or 3 weeks later. So what if he'd made this prediction and it was 18 months later?
Then it was a coincidence. Yeah.
So when does it transition from a coincidence from a premonition?
That's why I was saying at the beginning that the timeliness and the accuracy were
should be more prevalent in the scoring. Right? So I find that interesting, but the other interesting thing that happened was that the lady,
Mm-hmm.
Kathleen Middleton, actually predicted the death of John Barker,
Okay.
who was running the whole thing. Now, the interesting thing about that was that she predicted his death, and within a month he was dead. Well, that's not bad.
No.
He wasn't an old man.
Mm-hmm.
He was only in his 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And they did live, to their 60s
Uh-huh.
in that period.
But
Yeah.
I wonder what were the causes of.
She had a tape on him and she was going to release... No, it wasn't. A sex tape. Oh no.
Well-
Sorry, no, a sex film.
A Russian.
A Russian honeypot operation. Yeah, she was a Russian agent.
Well,
I mean, what do you think? A month?
well, I think a month.
It's not bad.
You know what's the only problem with these kind of things, especially in the past, when people wanted to be known or do something that would be memorable,
Yeah.
would be people getting obsessed with their predictions to the
Yeah.
point of maybe manipulating for them to become true. One of the reasons I ask you, how did he die?
Well, we've all seen that movie, but
Exactly. That's what I was saying. It's like a movie plot, right?
kind of.
Somebody that would
But
push.
Yeah, go on.
push basically the prediction to be real.
Oh, I thought you were going to say push him down the stairs. I
Maybe
told
he
you.
died like that. It says that you die today. So
Yeah, I haven't got long.
you see, I was right.
Well, apparently she was nowhere near him at the
She
time.
didn't predict how he was going to die. So
No, she didn't.
just that he would die.
And she was privately wealthy, so she had the means. She could have hired somebody.
Of course, we are speculating, but you never know.
We've turned very dark here from a very
Yeah.
kind of just a light, unusual thing, but just to drag it back into the realms of reality.
Mm-hmm.
The Bureau ran for, I think, a year or 18 months.
Yeah.
It was very interesting, obviously, as an exercise, obviously not scientific. But more recently, a guy called Richard Wiseman, he's a psychiatrist, and I've read some of his books. He had a book called Paranormality,
Uh-huh.
Why We See What Isn't There.
Okay.
And you can get this on Amazon.
Uh-huh.
And he said basically people want to believe these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But really it's just coincidence. And that on average people have about 4 dreams a night, and that the vast majority of them we forget, and that generally speaking you only actually remember dreams when you're woken up while having it, or
Mhm.
wake up while having it. And that the other interesting thing is that apparently 80% of people's dreams are about negative events.
Okay.
So basically, clearly there's going to be more opportunities for kind of triggering, connections with stuff from bad dreams because you have more of them.
Like just now,
Mm,
Prime released a movie
yeah.
called Silver, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Totally related to the dreams
Right.
and getting into other people's dreams, and when dreams turn into nightmares. And
Yeah. I think I've seen a movie like that. Yeah. There are several of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's a theme that resonates with people, doesn't it?
mm-hmm.
And I think people, or certain people, want to believe, right? Because they want to believe there's something more than just,
Yeah.
regular stuff. We have another episode on that.
That sounds like for another
That
episode.
does sound like
Even for example, lucid dreaming.
lucid dreaming. Yes, we must cover that.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do that for years. I've never managed it yet. Well, I may have. But anyway, we'll leave you with maybe some links or whatever. And interesting.
Yes.
Maybe this will be a movie at some point.
Yes. Don't forget to comment. What do you think about the topic?
Yeah, what do you think?
And if you would like something, another topic related to this or not.
I mean, if you wanted to make a premonition like nobody's ever going to watch this episode, we'd be interested in that.
Oh, that's a good one.
But only if it's about the immediate future.
Challenge.
It's no good coming back a year later going, told you. Okay, Rafa.
All right. On to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, Rafa. So, premonitions. I'm not I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it's hard because there's a lot of information for it to be considered a possibility, and some that is way too far-fetched.
But it's not quality information.
No, and we should remember there's also these remote viewing experiences in the US, for example, set up by CIA and used at some point by FBI.
Which,
and
amazingly, they're not using now.
That we know. Conspiracy theory there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Yes.
Good shout out for conspiracies there.
So, I think it's also up to our viewers to say, let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Do you think it could be possible? And if you have had any experience with it, let us know as well.
Or is that what you thought we'd say? No, mate. No.
No.
Whatever. No. That's not a premonition.
That's not. Leave your comments and let us know what do you think. And recommend the show to somebody.
Yeah. Please do.
My name is Rafael Ruiz.
Yes, we put food on the table from this podcast.
Okay. And he is?
Oh, I'm Carl Baldwin.
See you next time.